Hi guys, I'm talking to you today about button compasses. Nearly every survival kit I've ever owned, ever utilised, has had a button compass in it. One of these little bad boys. Now, they're very utilitarian and they're in there for a good reason. The trouble is most people have never had to actually navigate anywhere with one, and they don't really understand that it's a little bit different to using a normal prismatic or silver compass. It's similar because it is still a compass, but different in application. One of the reasons that's so is because they're not a precise item. These are often made cheaply in some part of the world where they make things cheaply. So they're not as precise as your normal high precision navigational equipment. So you're going to go for generic cardinal points only in the main. So it shapes the way you have to apply your navigation. If you're utilising this in a survival situation, obviously you've at some point in your experience have reached a decision where you've gone, it's no longer tenable to stay here. And that needs to be something you really think through. That is, I can't make that clear enough. Most anecdotal reporting and official reporting indicates that when you stay with your vehicle or you stay where you are when you first realise you're lost, that is the most likely place you'll be found. If you've been there for a period of time, and I'm talking a week or so plus, and you've got no indication that anyone's even looking for you, then it may be a case of considering self-rescue. That's where the compass comes into it. From a military point of view, it's different. We're on the go from day dot, but we're also extremely well-trained and proficient navigators. So this is just another tool for doing that. Now I utilise these in conjunction with solar, north, and celestial cardinal identification methods at night. So this thing is just another aid. So I'm not using just one single point of failure. I'm using a multiple arrangement of direction indicators that keep me on track, whether I'm doing this for survival purposes or doing it for navigation generally. It's the same thing to me. Two factors that will play into this in terms of how you use it. How much do you know about the information of the landscape around you that you're going to be moving through? I.e., do you have a map? Do you have a mud map? Do you have some anecdotal information from someone in your group or something reliable where you know that if you keep striking to the east, you're going to hit a coastline or you're going to run into civilization? If that's the case, you are in a good position. If you have absolutely no idea of where you are and what direction to travel in, it's the lotto. What you get is what you get. So you really need to sit down, take the time while you're making a decision to assess the environment you're in before you move away from it. When you actually come to using the compass, I'll show you first what it's like to use it with a map. So our primary compass is for some reason damaged. We're going to drop over to our backup compass, and we still have a working map, and we roughly know where we are. We're a little bit disorientated. Let's have a look at that scenario. Okay, so here we are. We have our map. We've placed it down on the ground and orientated it as best we can to north. I now pull out my button compass and I place it down, and this one's got a square edge, which is ideal. It helps me just line it up a little bit more precisely. I put it on one of the eastings on the map, or whatever grid line you have on your particular map, and I can then orientate the compass. Now it's slow. It's not going to be as precise as your silver compass or your prismatic compass. And if it's got a bubble in it, it's going to be even less accurate. Most of these compasses, these little ones, have been made in the northern hemisphere. So they're not as accurate in the southern hemisphere as they are in the northern hemisphere. They're just weighted slightly differently. So that means I've got to keep it as flat as possible. By putting it on the ground, I achieve the best solution in that regard. So now I've got my compass orientating towards north, indicating where north is for me, so I can align my map, and my map is now orientated. Now, if I'm utilising map to ground, terrain analysis, whatever word you want to stick on that practice, I'm now looking in the right direction at the right order of things. So if I'm standing here, looking over there, what I see on the ground between where I think I am and where I'm looking towards should line up. If it's not, as I've covered in a previous video, we need to orientate ourselves differently because we're not probably where we think we're standing. Okay, so that's the first way. Now if I don't, so obviously then to use it for navigational purposes, it's just a matter of utilising it the same way as we'd use a map to ground process or any other compass. It's just a bit slower, but it's fundamentally the same. Now if I'm going for cardinal points, I'll zoom in on this one so you can have a look. We're looking at the north, east, south and west primary cardinals, or the sub-cardinals of northeast, southeast, southwest, northwest. And then we can go to the sub-cardinals if we so desire. But usually, when we're moving in this sort of gross fashion, and we're utilising a map, we're moving over the terrain with that part of the information covered. If I don't have the map, I can A, place it in my hand, simple as that, and let it settle and orientate itself so I can identify those same points. And then I need to align myself behind and line myself up with the environment in the same way as I just described with the map to make sense of things. I need to be static to do it with these compasses because they are not the most stable of devices. One good way to do it, to be sure that you're not going to give yourself even more distance to cover, is to place it on the ground, allow it to settle once again, and orientate itself, tap it if you need to. Now this card's slightly tilting up because it's a northern hemisphere compass. So get it as level as you can and it will find its equilibrium. Done. So to me, where I'm standing right now, north is straight through there. If I'm standing here, looking there, and I want to travel north, I can just look along that, pick a reference point, move to that reference point and repeat the process. It's as simple as that. Look, I hope that helps. They are a valuable item. Don't rely on them. Couple them with celestial navigation and solar navigation techniques. Use map to ground, use a mud map, and cautiously plan out your next move if you're in a survival situation before you just race off and think you can save the world and save yourself with a button compass. Very, very useful item, but it has limitations. Take what's useful, discard the rest. See you out there. Have a good day.